Welcome back, everybody. Episode 3, the Bluefield University Coaches Show. Each week, we're going to sit down, spotlight some people of the programs that make BU athletics special. We'll move right into our first guest of episode 3 here. It is the man who makes the wheels that keep turning. It's Director of Athletic Business Operations, Jared Porter. Jared, thanks for joining us. He's the new Director of Athletic Business Operations on campus. So we'll go ahead and start with some big news that we want to unveil. Bluefield University Athletics has officially partnered with Food City. So, talk to me a little bit about this partnership with Food City. What does it mean for our athletic programs and our fan experiences here on campus?
Yeah, with Food City, we're happy to be in a partnership with them, considering they are a big grocer in this region. You can find them anywhere from here all the way down through Tennessee. Just about anywhere you go, you'll notice there's a Food City there. So being associated with them, and anybody that sees Food City, they may also think of, hey, Bluefield University. We want to be able to generate, some athletes from whether they're kids that are working in their grocery stores, or if they're, at a school and they're currently working at Food City. We would like to, encourage them to come participate in our athletics here.
Awesome. So I'm curious, when you're looking at potential partners and sponsorships for our athletic programs in our department, what makes a business like Food City such a strong fit?
We look for businesses that are community involved. There's a lot more involvement from like Food City than there is like the Walmarts. Walmarts are global, where Food Cities are regional, and we really want to showcase regional businesses. And we feel like we have the same goals as they do, and that's to attract the local community to their stores, and we want to attract the local community to our games.
So we'll kind of break down the wall here a little bit. So we'll go behind the curtain. Talk to me a little bit about your role here in the athletic department as Director of Business Ops, and how sponsorships and business partnerships will help support our student athletes.
So my position here, we're a nonprofit university, but we're here to also make a profit. We want to make money so we can turn around and give that money to our students, to our staff. We want to be able to generate as much revenue as possible. That way we can take that revenue and turn this gymnasium we're in currently right now, we want to turn it into something bigger than it is already. So my position here, I'm here to hopefully bring in some money for the program, and to let our students know that we're trying to work on making this a better fit for them. And we're wanting to also create these nice extravagant areas where kids can go and hang out, and we want them to be able to, we bring in students to come look and potentially come here in the future. We want to give them something to look forward to coming to.
Right. So, Bluefield Athletics has been expanding very quickly, ever since you and I both got here around the same time. What areas of the athletic department have you seen, the most growth from, whether it be a business or operations standpoint?
I see a lot of growth in our programs. We've started out pretty slow with, we've had a whole complete change in staff completely here. Our women's soccer coach is completely new. Our whole football team is basically freshmen. I see a huge growth in all those programs, and especially football. They ended the season pretty strong with a win there. I'd like to see more wins next year, hopefully. So I think with us generating revenue for this program, doing these little videos like we're doing now, we can get some exposure for the programs and really have these big businesses and even small businesses donate a little bit and come and enjoy the games. So I think with us being here, we're new. We're kind of outsiders still looking in right now, but we definitely see a brighter future for the programs.
Right. So as we look ahead, the big picture, if you will, what really excites you here about where Bluefield Athletics is headed? Not only Bluefield Athletics, but Bluefield University as a whole. When you think about partnerships like the one that we've been able to have with Food City now, and how is it going to help support our programs and just continue to climb?
We're a university that we were in some financial ruins years ago, from what I've learned. And we've had some amazing donors come through the ranks and stuff, and they've really helped us get out of the hole. And we're making some big development things going on around here. We're upgrading. We're trying to become more energy efficient. We're trying to make sure we're not spending money stupidly, and we're continually growing as a university. We're putting people in places where they need to be in order to make sure that we're all able to do our jobs efficiently and make money for the university and our students. So, from a business operations side, I see us working as a university to generate revenue to where we're not losing $1 million, we're gaining $1 million. That way we can take that money that we're gaining and turn it into a stadium in the future, or a workout facility, or just even have like our students going out into the community to be involved and stuff, being able to, that costs money to do that, but also it's us giving back to the community. So I feel like the university is on the right track. We've had a lot of changes around here with Dr. Peterson. This is his second year. He is, fantastic. He seems like, he's one of those, he come to us at lunch one day and he's just like, I like to see guys just go and do stuff. And I feel like, he's really hiring the right people to really take this university to the next level.
Awesome. Great stuff, Jared. Thank you for sitting down with us, and we'll kick it over now to our second interview here on episode 3 of the Bluefield University Coaches Show. Back again on the Bluefield University Coaches Show, episode 3. My next guest is the leader of esports here at Bluefield University. It's Coach Madison Wisman. Coach, thanks for sitting down with us. To start out, this is your guys' first year as a program. So before we get to talking about, your first season, I want to start big picture. A lot of people hear the term esports. They may not really know what that entails. Just explain real quick how collegiate esports, or explain collegiate esports to someone who may not know what that is.
Yeah. Basically, I would just, kind of describe it as, playing video games at a varsity level. Just like you would any other sport that we have here at Bluefield, whether it be basketball, football, baseball, anything like that. It's basically taking video games and going into organized competition against other teams and just competing. So, we even play, in large national organized competitions, like in conferences like ECAC and things like that. So it's become a very big thing all across the United States in terms of the different competitions and organizations that are out there.
Cool. So, we'll get into your season now. You're starting to wrap up your first fall season of competition. What are some of the biggest takeaway from you and what you've seen from your teams this semester?
Yeah, the one word that came to mind was growth. That was probably the biggest thing that we learned. Coming into this, none of us really knew what to expect. Most of these students had never even competed in this type of competition before. I think I only had one that had actually done organized competition. I had never coached at the collegiate level, only in high school, and that's a completely different ball game in terms of how that works. So what I really just wanted to do this season was just to grow together as a team and as a university, and learning how to navigate this esport. Like I said, we had 5 new freshmen coming in, 2 returning sophomores, and not a single one of them, except for one, I think, actually competed before. So, learning to do that was what we really wanted to do. Other big thing I think about too is just learning how to compete under pressure. Obviously when you're gaming at home, on your couch or with at your computer desk or whatever, the stakes don't really feel as high. You're just kind of more doing it for fun. So coming together, being in this esports arena, knowing that you're going up against all these other teams, these other universities, it kind of puts that pressure on you a little bit more. So learning to kind of navigate that and help them through that pressure has been something that we've really been working on as well.
Sweet. So we'll talk about one of the big highlights of your season. It was on homecoming weekend. Your Rocket League team swept a nearby school, West Virginia Tech, 4-0. You did it. They had a great crowd inside the Student Center live streaming your guys' event. What was that moment? I know you guys weren't physically there to see the watch party, but what was that moment like for your players and program?
Yeah, I mean, it was fantastic. Esports in general is still pretty new at Bluefield. Not a lot of people know about it or know that we even have a team. So getting, the students behind that was just really awesome. I went over before, our match started that night and just, thanked everybody that was there and stuff. I mean, like I said, the crowd was great. Absolutely loved it. some of our students at first were kind of nervous, like thinking like, oh man, people that I go to class with are watching us play. But we were able to navigate through that well. I think, like I said, being able to compete against kind of like a regional school in West Virginia Tech, being fairly close to us, was a really cool thing. And then be able to just come out and kind of dominate in that was really cool. It was a fantastic time. And, I went over after the match just to see, kind of what the vibe was, with the students over there in the Student Center. They were all super excited, super hype about, what they had watched. Multiple of them were asking me like, hey, when's your next match? I can't wait to watch that again. So I think, just being able to do that was creating a really nice buzz for the esports program. And now even some of the guys, will walk around and see me, like, ask me questions about esports and stuff. So it's just cool to see that growing here at Bluefield.
Cool. So you mentioned that esports is pretty new, pretty fresh in the realm of college athletics. What do you wish more students, fans, people around campus, around supporters of the athletic programs? What do you wish they understood more about what goes into running a competitive esports program?
I think the biggest thing is people just assume that you just come in and have fun and play a video game. They don't realize that all the preparation and the time spent preparing for these different matches. It's not just showing up on game day and we're doing this. We're having practices. We're working on different skill sets depending on which game you're in. Each game has their own different skills, their own different rule books, things like that you have to kind of navigate. So we do that. I review film, and take a look at some of the things that maybe could be improved, for the next match, and stuff like that. I do research and, scout the other team as well. You can go in and look at their, what they played in the ranked games and stuff like that, and kind of get a feel of how they play and stuff like that. So, it's not just showing up and playing a video game like you're, in your mom's basement or something. There's actually a lot to it, and even like, I push my guys to not only work on just those fundamentals, but also like taking care of their body and stuff too. Because, just like other sports, when your body's performing at a high level, you need to make sure your nutrition and things like that is good as well. And us gamers are not known for, particularly having that best, we like to, down our Mountain Dews and Doritos, while we're gaming. So, keeping that part of it going as well, and making sure that, both their body and mind and those things are top notch as well is another thing that people don't really think about.
So, Coach, while we got you here, one final question. We'll talk big picture. What's next for your program as you transition from this first, you take the information from this first season, you move it into the spring and beyond, and if kind of a two-parter, what do you move into the spring? And also, if there's a student on campus or even someone at the high school level at a different school maybe is interested in joining, how can they get involved?
Yeah, absolutely. So, again, coming into this fall season, was our first competitive, season here at Bluefield in the esports program. So none of us really knew what to think, what to expect. I just wanted to come in, have a good showing in terms of what we did. We ended up making playoffs in 2 of our 4 games, and got really close to finals in those as well. And then the other 2 teams that were playing in the other games, they were within, a couple of spots of making playoffs as well. So my expectations were low. I just wanted to get the team together and, begin that process of building the program. And these guys just blew it out of the water. I seeing them come together. I mean, the growth from week 1 to week 7 was just outstanding. And I'm banking on taking that momentum that we had in the fall into the spring season, and I really think we can hit all 4 teams in playoffs and continue to just grow that program and show that we can be competitive, even though we are smaller when we're playing against bigger colleges in some of these competitions. In terms of if any student is looking to join the esports program or anything like that, easiest way is just to reach out to me via email. It's mwistman@bluefield.edu. Also on our website, we have bluefield.edu/esports. There's a form on there that will you can fill out with what games you're interested in, put your gamer tag in there and stuff like that, and that'll also be sent to me, and then I can reach out to you via that. I'd love to have anybody on campus that whether they are just an academic student or they're playing another sport, if it's in their off season, would love to have them come and join and have fun on that too, just to continue to build that program further. So.
Awesome, Coach. We appreciate you sitting
Yes,
down with us. If you want to learn more about Bluefield Esports, like he said, visit bluefield.edu/esports. You can also check schedules, results, upcoming events at burams.com/esports. Also follow them on social medias. But without a doubt, we'll move on now to our third and final interview of Episode 3 of the Bluefield University Coaches Show. Welcome back. Final interview of Episode 3 of the Bluefield University Coaches Show. Sitting down here with head men's and women's golf coach Andy Sawyers. Coach, thanks for taking some time sitting down with us. It was an exciting fall. Big highlights on both your men's and your women's sides. We'll start with the men. They opened up the year taking home the crown at the Fincastle Intercollegiate. What did that early season win show you about this group of guys?
Yeah, so it didn't really show me a whole lot about them that I didn't already know. We've got a lot of talent, incredibly talented team. The hard part sometimes is just kind of like it's putting it together and believing that that you are as good as what you are. And so for us, being able to have that tournament at the beginning and seeing just what it took, I think, to put all of the pieces together and to put it together back-to-back days and also against some really tough competition. I believe it helped them to believe in themselves and know that they had the talent to belong with anybody.
Coach, we'll move over now to the women's side. Savannah Riley became your first, women's medalist in program history after winning the U-Pike Invitational. A huge 73 1-over performance on that second day. What did her performance mean, both for her and for that women's team?
Yeah, so incredible performance. Really tough golf course. 73 is an outstanding round. She had a tough day one, and it showed a lot of resilience, a lot of fight back. Savannah's a great player, just a great person overall. And it was nice to see her get a win because she's worked really hard. And again, kind of like with the men's team, just seeing it all come together and then knowing that moving forward that you've got that ability and that it's, something that's on the table to not only play well, but to win, I think, helped her quite a bit moving forward. It also helped the team because, it's kind of like that rallying point that, you see a win, whether it's individual or team-wise, it just kind of builds that team camaraderie. And we're building a family program here that everybody is close, everybody works together, and so we celebrate each other's victories. So you could kind of see them all rally around her after that. So
right. So you talk about having both teams. So we'll talk a little bit about development. How have you seen both of these teams grow in the fall in terms of consistency, handling maybe your freshmen getting some first tournament reps?
Yeah, so the team, in the last couple of years since I've been here has grown. They've grown together. They've grown up. The maturity helps a lot in golf. You learn lessons, and sometimes it takes time to learn that, and it takes experience. So we've seen them have great tournaments. We've seen us have some bad tournaments here and there, whether individually or even as a team. And so we've grown through that. They've taken what they've learned over the last couple of years and just built on that. So this last year, we keep bringing in talent, and you get guys like Jack that came in this last year that contributed, or just over the last couple of years, we've seen the younger players kind of step up. We've also seen the players that have been here taking the lead and leading and kind of leading the way through that. We've had three seniors that are graduating actually in December. So as we see them kind of phase out, we could see them leading, but we could also see the younger guys coming in and younger ladies come in and kind of fill in those gaps a little bit.
Right. So we'll go back. You talk about the growth over the past couple of years. What is the biggest thing that you've seen change in the overall both golf programs from the last couple of years?
Well, on the women's side, we're building a program, not from scratch. We've had individuals for a long time, but building a program. And so for that, it's a slow build, but it's a really good build. You can see them coming together, growing closer together. We added Colin this year, who's my assistant, and Colin's been just a great addition for that. Helped them to enjoy the game probably even more than what I do. And so they came together. They're really tight knit, and that's been nice to see. It helped them not just on the course, but off of it. On the men's side, we've seen, we keep, just like I said earlier, we keep bringing in talent. We see them meshing together. We see that courses that might have been a challenge in the past, we're learning how to play them a little better, getting a little better with our course management. And yeah, you can just kind of see that we're building towards something. And not only am I saying that, but I believe the guys believe that. I think they know that over the next couple of years, I believe we can do some pretty special things. And you know, we're looking at the talent coming in you know, next year, and just you know, knowing that we have we have a really good base, I guess you would say, to build off of from here.
Awesome. So golf is a little bit unique because you do play both in the fall and the spring. So we'll look forward to the spring. You mentioned, you know, you're losing a few of your seniors. What are some of the goals and expectations for your teams as you enter the, you know, the championship season part of the year?
Sure. So yeah, you mentioned it. Losing Braden and Silas and Tanner is a huge loss for us, and especially mid-season. That's a really tough loss. Big shoes to fill, but we've got players that can do it. You know, I've got some really talented guys, and you know, I won't name them, you know, each of them, but man, they're incredibly talented. So individually, you know, I know that we've got some goals individually that we can achieve. We got guys that, you know, are at the top of the conference and ranked nationally really, really high, and so we've got the talent to do that. We brought in some players that, you know, have the potential to take those spots that, you know, of the guys that are leaving, and you know, we're building towards seeing them fill those gaps. And I believe, like I said, I mentioned Jack earlier. You know, last year we had Javi, and you know, we got Ethan Hunter. Like, we've got other guys that are going to kind of have to step up in the spring, and it's a big task, it's a big challenge, but you know, they're ready for that. They're able to step in. So again, spring wise, our goals are very much, you know, make a run towards improving our placing at conference, and then just seeing some individuals step up and you know, do some things that maybe you know, would mean something moving into next year.
Right. Awesome. Coach, we appreciate your time. Thank you for sitting down with us. Good luck going forward in that spring season. And thank you for watching episode 3 of the Bluefield University Coach Show. Stay connected with all of Bluefield Athletics, BURams.com, at Bluefield Rams on social media. Don't forget to tune in next week for episode 4. Thank you for watching.